Hello, third graders. Today we are starting a brand new unit, and this unit is going to be about telling time and working with time. So today we're on page 117, and we are on lesson 1 of unit 11. Okay, our objective or our goal for today is, let me grab my green pen so you can write with me. Our objective or goal today is, today I will tell and write time to the minute. Okay, so today I will tell and write time to the minute. Okay, a couple things before we get started, since it's a brand new unit, is let's really look at our vocabulary today. The first thing that I want to point out is this is what we call an analog clock. Sometimes you'll hear that. It's called an analog or a face clock, kind of like the clocks we have in our classrooms. But an analog or a face clock has two hands, the hour hand and the minute hand. Now, if you look at the hour hand, what you'll notice is the hour hand is always the short hand, and then the minute hand is the long hand. It's really important that you know the difference between those two. Okay, so the hour hand will always be on a number, or it might be past one. So right here, if we look closely at this hour hand, it's past 8, but it hasn't got to the 9 yet. So that's why the hour is 8. We'll talk in a moment about why the minutes is 30. This type of clock that you might see on your cell phone or on an alarm clock or even a watch, this is called a digital clock. A digital clock doesn't have hands, it just gives you the numbers. Okay, some things that we're going to need to know is that every hour is made up of 60 minutes. An hour is made up of 60 minutes, and there's 24 hours in the day. This also just lets you know something else about time, that there's something called AM, which this is the part of the day thought of as the morning. This period lasts for 12 hours from midnight, so we think of 12 o'clock midnight till 12 o'clock noon, or like around lunchtime. And then there's PM part, which the part of the day thought of as the afternoon, evening, and night, and this is also 12 hours, so it's from noon to midnight. So we split our day into two parts. Okay, AM and PM. Now let's look at our steps really quick. Our first step says we're going to identify the hour hand. We always work with our hour hand first. And then it tells us if the hour hand is between two numbers, it reflects the smaller number. Record the hour. But I'll show you what that looks like. But we always do our hour hand first. Next, it says identify the minute hand. Count by 5s until you've reached the anchor number prior to the minute hand. Count on from that interval of 5 until you've reached the minute hand. Now that seems like there's a lot going on. I'm going to show you what that looks like, but I just want you to take away that we do hour hand first and then we do our minute hand. Okay, so boys and girls, I'm going to put down my marker and I'm going to grab my red marker if you want to just watch with me for a second. Here is my first problem. Okay, my first problem says, what time is it? So I see an analog or a face clock. I see two hands, and I need to really look closely to see which one's my hour hand and which one's my minute hand, because I want to start with my hour hand. So this one appears to be shorter than this one. So this one is called my hour hand. And that's the one I'm going to be starting with. So when I look at my hour hand, I see that it's past 2, but it hasn't got to the 3 yet. So that means my hour is going to be 2 o'clock. So I put a 2, and then I do something called a colon. So the colon is going to separate the hour from the minutes. Okay, now for the minute hand, which is my longer one, what they told me to do in my steps is to count by fives. The reason they're telling me that is if I look here and I counted every single little dash here, all these little increments all the way around, I would notice 60 because there's 60 minutes in each hour. That's going to take me a long time. But if I look really closely just right here in this section, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from the 12 to the 1, there's 5 increments. So that means it's 5 minutes. And here's another 5 right here. So that means another 5 would be 10 minutes. Another 5 would give me 15 minutes. And I'm just counting by fives and writing it by the numbers on my face clock. 25 and 30. Okay, now when I get here, I don't want to go to 35 because I will have passed my minute hand. So I'm going to stop and count how many. So I have 30. This next little dash would be 31, 32, and then this one is where my hand is pointing, which is 33. So that means my minute hand is 33 minutes. So what time it is I say 2:33. That's the time it is. Okay, let's look at this next one, ladies and gentlemen, and you're gonna notice I'm gonna actually use a pencil for this because I'm gonna need to make some adjustments in a moment. Okay, so we always start with my hour hand. And if I look here, my hour hand is 4. Now remember, my hour hand is also my shorter hand. So I don't really need a ruler. I could use a ruler if I wanted to be really careful. There's my 4, and I'm gonna have a short hand point to the 4. Okay, I did that in pencil for a reason, and I'll come back to that and show you why. Okay, so I start with the hour hand. Now my long hand is going to show me my minutes, which is 37 minutes. Okay, so just like before, I'm gonna start here, and that gives me 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and I don't want to count another 5 because I'll get 40. So this next one is 36, 37. That's right there is where I want it to point to. So my long hand is going to point right there. Okay, so boys and girls, the reason I wanted to put this in pencil is that if my minute hand is so far over, look at where my minute hand's already gone. It's already gone more than half the circle to there. That means that this hour hand would have moved as well. This hour hand is more than halfway on its way to 5. Because when the minute hand hits here, that means an hour's happened and my hour hand needs to move to 5. So my hour wouldn't really be pointing to exactly 4. It would actually be closer to 5. So instead of putting it now pointing to the 4, I would probably put it maybe right about here, like in the middle, but a little closer to the 5 than to the 4. It can't hit the 5 though yet. So it has to be between the 4 and the 5. Okay, so let's try some of these together. Okay, you're going to be on page 118 of your student journal. And let's look at our first problem. Our first problem says, what time is it? Okay, so we always start with our hour hand. So I see 2 hands, and I see the shorter one as my hour hand. So what I see is my hour hand passed the 6, but it didn't get to 7 yet. So that tells me my hour is 6. And then I need my colon that's going to separate it from my minutes. Okay, so now let's look at my minutes. I always start here. I have 5 minutes past. I have 10 minutes past, but I did not make it all the way here. So that would be 11, 12, 13. It looks to me that it's pointing right there, which would be 14. So our time is 6:14. That's how I would write that, 6:14. And if I look at my hour hand, notice that because it's only has traveled this far, it's not on the 6, it's a little bit past 6 o'clock. So this hour hand slowly moves as the minute hand moves. Okay, let's look at our next problem. It says, use your clock to represent the time. Draw the hour and minute hands to show the time. Okay, so we always start with our hour first. So our hour is 8. So I'm going to do it the same last time as I'm going to use my ruler just to help me. And I'm going to use pencil so I can adjust it after. So my hour hand is going to point to the 8, and it's a shorthand. Okay, our minute hand needs to go to 24. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, I can't go to 25. So it needs to be 21, 22, 23, 24. That's where we need to put it. And remember, the minute hand is our long hand. So it should go right there. So think of how far our minute hand traveled. It didn't travel halfway, but it traveled some, which would tell me my hour hand would not be halfway to 9, but it would be past the 8. So I think it would be maybe something more like that. It's going to be pointing somewhere between the 8 and the 9. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to be doing today is you're going to try some of these on your own. So turning the page, you're going to be doing just 2 problems, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.